99.9.
Such a cruel place. Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
Good morning once again to all of the listeners of WEFM. At this moment, we are in our Cup Chat segment, and joining Relisa and I in studio this morning, we have Mr. Kenroy Martin, who is a corporal of police with the process department, Mr. Akeem Solin, Constable 1081, also in the process department, and Lenosia Constantine, Constable 196, who is also in the process department. And you could probably guess what we're going to be talking about by now. So we are discussing understanding the duties of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Forces Process Office. Gentlemen and lady, good morning. Welcome to WEFM.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Since you entered this room, you've just been smiling, and I am assuming that you're all doing well. How are you doing?
I've been doing okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
Lovely.
I'm doing fine as well. Excited to be here.
All right. And I'm excited for you to be here because I don't know how many people out there are like me. I didn't know about this process office that you have. So I'm excited for our discussion here this morning. So we get the ball rolling. And the first question, what is the police process office or the process unit?
Well, the process department is a department that basically it falls between the DPP's office. It also falls between all the police officers with their work, their duties. It also falls between the magistrates. So we are the team that normally gets but basically the engine room for the court system. We normally deal with the summons, we deal with warning witnesses, we deal with the, we used to deal with the case files before. They are now at the DPP's office. So we are basically the engine room for that system, the justice system, basically. That's the process department for the police and the DPP's office.
Okay. So you do mostly paperwork. Do you ever have to go out into the field to do anything as it relates to your paperwork duties?
Well, it's more than paperwork.
Okay.
Serving the summons is beyond paperwork. It is going in the community, finding persons who we need to come to court.
So the process department officers are the ones who would go to take those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Sometimes what we will do as well, if we can't reach persons, sometimes persons are out in the out district, for example, like Chateaubriand, Barley. If we can't reach there, we normally ask the assistance of polices in that area to assist us in, serving summonses or like that.
Curious question. Do you tend to, let's say, work with Inland Revenue Department or even electoral office in terms of ascertaining exactly where persons are found because are located at least the last known residence?
Well, that's one of the issues that we normally have on process department. We're locating witnesses because people move so often from different villages. So sometimes what we normally do is that if we can't find a witness, we normally go to the electoral office, we send them the information, and we'll probably get a picture photo of that individual so that we could locate them, find relatives or so on, so that we could get that information and actually solve that person to come to court. So we normally use the immigration department and so on. So we work in tandem
All right.
so we could get our work done.
Okay. All right.
How important would you say your department is for, well, generally? Or how critical is the role that you play?
Well, as the corporal previously stated, right, we are the engine room, right? From getting the matters in order, solving summons, getting the witnesses notified, and also on the day we provide security in the courthouse, security for everybody present, from the magistrate down to even the defendants. We are there to make sure everything goes smoothly, because what a lot of persons don't even know, that there is a strict dress code for the courtroom.
Please state what it is. Thank you. Because, and the reason why I'm saying it, right, is that recently there was an article in the paper, I think it was Burnett, who mentioned that persons are not coming to court to witness matters. And some persons say that, okay, well, they would go, but they are turned away, right? So if you want to get the public a bit more involved in the judicial process,
Right.
we just need to know, number one, that we could actually go, and number two, what it is that we should wear, before looking to attend.
Okay, right. Well, the court, it's a public place, right? With a little exception to the family court, because they handle more sensitive matters, all right? But anybody could go and hear a case, all right? The dress code is different with male and female, all right? But the one thing that you have to keep in mind, business attire, right? So no short things, no revealing clothing, with the females, no, macaroni straps, no sheer tops, as in see-through, right? We're just business like.
No cleavage.
Or the
Exactly.
tights,
Right,
or like that.
right. And then from
Sometimes
there-
even like the extra earrings in the nose, and you just have to.
You take them. Okay.
yeah, correct.
Yes, the court is serious business.
Serious.
No,
business.
the persons is what have me looking at y'all like, what? I would expect that to be anything.
Mhm. And then for the guys now, shirts, or even though you have on a jaws, armpit, short pants, right? Footwear, preferably whole shoes. Make sure your shirt is tucked into your pants.
And the earrings as well.
Yeah, and earrings as well.
So the guys, no earrings?
No,
No
please.
earrings, no,
Some-
no big jewelry, no loud printing on clothing, no bright flamboyant colors.
Yes.
So I guess it's also extends to hairstyle, no big poofy hair and that type of thing.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. Yeah.
Neatly dressed.
Yeah, you must be neatly attired.
I suppose the definition of neatly attired is going to change from generation to generation, right? So
Yes,
yeah.
it does.
All right.
So before you go off of the court, how do people know when a case is being kept or held at court, though? I mean, doesn't have an open or closed sign, How do you know if a case is going on? You just pass across the court and look in and say, wait, they look like something keeping, and you go in? How would you know?
Normally, we have a list by the entrance of the court. Like as you enter the court, we normally have a list there of all the matters that will be heard on that day. So if you have interest in that or any specific matter, you can probably just take a look, and then you will actually know that matter is actually happening today.
Would you, as police officers, because we heard from the magistrate, but would you, as police officers, actually encourage persons to go and listen to court cases?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
For several reasons.
Okay.
Because most persons who are coming to the court, they are not au fait with what is expected of them, what they are to do when they come to court. So you coming along and seeing exactly what is happening, that would help you. If any day you have to come to court with a matter. And these are some of the issues that we have in courts, that persons, they are not aware as to how to address the magistrate, what to say, what questions to ask in respect of a matter, and so on. So if you come to court, these are things that you would learn and understand Sometimes the magistrates normally say certain things, explain a sentence to you, and some of the defendants are so they're not aware as to what the magistrate is saying. But there are different terminologies being used, and they are not aware as to what is being said to them. So the general public goes away with a different conception as to what am I supposed to do in respect of this matter? What did she just do, or what did she say? They are not aware, and that is something that the general public ought to try and get more information on. Come into court and you will learn all those things.
But is there an age that you need to be over? Do you have to be 18 and over?
Yes, that is something that is because of the court system. There's an age limit,
Okay.
so we don't allow children to come into the court. If there's a matter, then the parent or the guardian would accompany that child, or a social worker,
Okay.
based on the offense and so on.
All right. The reason why I ask is because maybe left up to adults alone, they may not necessarily go to witness it unless they are involved in it or it's something of curiosity, right? But I was just thinking about, let's say, a class in school, one of these school classes, the teacher could actually go to a session, allow the children to be exposed to it. So, because, unless you go from the school setting, once you leave the school system, you don't have that opportunity sometimes to do certain things. So that's why I asked the question about the age.
Yeah, those are things that they could look at in respect of the court to accommodate schools and so on, so that the children could be aware as to what happens in the court, rather than becoming adults and it's just being taught to you.
Right.
So those are things that you need to look at as well, so we could expand that knowledge.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Final question on court. Can I go to court with my head wrapped like this?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
And no hats as well.
And
No
no
hats.
hats.
No.
Correct.
We don't know what is under
So
that.
you don't make
We don't know what is
so
under
you
that.
would make exceptions for persons of a particular religion?
Yeah, we do.
Yes,
For the
we do.
religion.
For the
Yes,
religion
we do.
purposes, yes.
But how would you know that I am of that religion?
We would ask. For instance, the rappings normally come to the Rastafarian, right?
Right.
So if you see a dreadlock, you know that. And based on that, there are things in code that we would not put to a Rastafarian. For instance, swearing, I know information. We would just let him raise his hands and do the necessaries. Instead of taking up the Bible,
Right.
right? And swear on the Bible, we affirm you.
Okay.
So we don't breach certain things.
And again, all that is going back to security,
Yeah.
security protocol. Again, we have to make sure that everybody in the present setting is being secured. Somebody comes with their head wrapped up or with a hat on. We don't know what's in between the hat. We don't know what's under the wrap, right? We don't know the person's intentions, right? So all that is part of security. Because I'm sure that you come into court, you would want to feel safe and secure, sound of mind, that the police present have everything covered.
And I guess you do searches as well.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we
All right.
do
Have
our
to.
search
Yeah.
on your person.
Everybody's safety is of utmost importance.
Okay.
From the magistrate down to the defendant. Everybody.
Okay.
That's the police job.
All right.
Okay, we could go on a good while with these questions, but all right.
Yeah. All right. So how do you serve summons?
Well, a summons, right? Let's say that.
What is a summons?
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all,
That's an excellent question. A summons is a document signed and stamped by the magistrate, right? Letting you know that you have to attend court on a particular date for a particular matter. All the information would be on it, right? So let's say a summons is made out for John Jones, right? John Jones is to attend, it would state which court, which day, and what matter. Let's say the defendant is Jane Watson. Have to attend court a particular day against Jane Watson for the offense of theft. The summons is best served on the person. The police officer hand the summons to the person, right? And then after that, you do the necessaries. You back it. You make a note, and on the day now, you present it to the prosecutor, who would then relay the message, the information to the magistrate to let the magistrate know Tom Jones has been served to appear in court on this day.
So I'm looking at the scenario. Martin, watching me already. So I am looking at the scenario, right? Where you approach me and you say that you are here to serve a summons.
Right.
And I back away and I do this. Right? If I back away and I do this in terms of me saying I am not accepting it, I don't even want to touch it, what happens there?
Well, the first thing that the police do is ascertain your name. If you are the person that we're looking for. Once you say yes, this is the person. I inform you that I have a summons for you in respect of this matter, and it is going to be held at this court at a particular time. If you refuse to accept the summons there and then, I would hand it to you.
But suppose I back when I just
That's
let
okay.
it drop on the
That's
floor, what
okay.
happens?
That's me serving you,
Oh.
giving you that information. You not taking it. What I normally do is there's the back of the summons that I would write on. Said, I met Tom Jones on such and such a date, presented the summons to him or her, and what actions was done during that time, so that the police could be cleared of not going out and serving this person a summons. They refuse to accept it, so that would be put on the summons as well.
But in that case, would you drop it? What would happen?
Can I say?
All right, all right.
I'm serving you, so you have to get the document. I'm serving you.
Think of a way in which you could. All right, leave that.
Yeah,
And again, this is where professionalism comes in, right? I don't think we have ever, well, since I've been in the department, I've never experienced that. Once we approach persons professionally, they normally reciprocate professionally. So we come to you, good morning, good evening, whether it's so, ma'am, someone's here for you. And some person they would require further explanation as to what's on the summons. We explain it to them and then they accept it. And then on the day in court, they show up.
All right, I'm just looking at persons who may, there are some persons who say, I do not want to get involved in this matter at all. Whether it's to come to court, to testify, whatever the case might be, there are some persons who insistent that, they want absolutely nothing to do with the court process. So what advice would you give to such hard-headed people?
Well, first of all, your involvement was before you meet the process department.
Okay.
You given a statement to the police officer who's investigating the matter. So that police officer would take whatever you say into writing, and they would inform you that, okay, it's on writing. You would sign to that statement. So once that is done, it means that you would be automatically served to come to court to say what you have written down on that paper in court. If by some stretch of the imagination you decided that you don't want to have anything to do with the case, you go back to the police officer and said, listen, I have no interest in this matter. And that police officer could take a further statement from you in respect of such. But if you're key in the matter and the prosecutor decides that I need this person in this matter, he says that to the magistrate determines that, and then they would send a second summons for you, informing you that you need to come. If that doesn't happen and you refuse again, she could actually send a bench warrant for you.
Okay. All right. So explain the bench warrant, and then afterwards, I want for you to state to persons why it's important for them to be involved in the court process, the entire court process.
Yes, that's the duty as a citizen. That's a duty as well as a citizen.
And it helps us with solving crimes and
yes.
that type of thing, and putting perpetrators behind bars
Exactly.
and everything, right?
Yeah,
Right.
that's the duty.
All right. Explain the bench warrant, though.
It's never a good thing when it gets to that point, because the police have to forcefully remove you from where you're at. That's when the magistrate says, listen, bring this person to court on this piece of document that I'm sending, whether they like it or not. So even though we come to you today, the matter is tomorrow, we have to take you up today. You'll be spending that time with us in custody. It's an arrest warrant, basically.
So bench warrant is literally sitting on a bench?
Yes, bench warrant.
Until
you
we
have to come to
physically.
court. And then you come to the magistrate and explain what you probably said to the police officer. And then they will make a determination in respect of such.
All right.
And then to add to what the corporal just stated, it's never a good thing when it has to get to that stage. Because how and wherever the police meet you, that's where they're going to arrest you. So whether it's on your job, whether it's in your house with your family, whether it's in church, how and wherever they meet you, that's how they bring in you, taking you to the station until the next available court date. And so let's say there was a holiday.
or weekend.
There was a holiday that just passed.
Carnival weekend. Let me look at that.
Yeah,
Easter weekend.
Weekend. And even Easter weekend that just went, because that ran from the Thursday straight to the Tuesday. So let's say a bench warrant is out for you and the police got you Wednesday evening. You have to spend Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and go to court on Tuesday.
Definitely.
So it's never a good thing when a bench warrant is issued for you.
All right. Now, with regards to the bench warrant, do they get at least one phone call to let somebody know where they are?
Of course.
Okay.
I think
we
food
do
is their
that.
right.
We do that. They have their
And
rights.
who provides them with food?
The state. The state will provide them with their meal. I think it's 3 meals per day.
Yeah. They're entitled to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I just said certain type of food, because.
Yeah.
All right.
But then based on where you're at, you could speak to the persons at the station and say, well, mommy may bring some food for me. And there's a procedure. Then you could get that as well. And some clothing as well, so that you could be comfortable where you're at. But we cannot disobey the magistrate's order to go and get you. Because when we go into court, and she says, where is Tom Jones? And I stand up and said, well, we went to Tom Jones, he decided not coming and we can't get him into court. She said, but I sent a bench warrant for him. We have to answer to her. So we prevent that and we bring you into court.
All right. So, folks, bench warrant is not a nice thing. You would not have the luxury of being in your couch at home. All right. So, yes.
To go back to the summons topic, you said it's best delivered. Is it in person or on person? You said when you said it to give it to the person directly.
Best delivered in person. Yes.
In person.
Yes.
So just to be clear, that means that if you come to deliver a summons to me and I'm not there, you're not leaving it with my mommy, my son, my daughter, my cousin, granny, nobody, right? No. What if every time you come, I am just not home? Every single time you come, am I gonna get a bench warrant?
Yes.
Well, no, we wouldn't. If every time we come, and you're not home, then somebody home has to know where you are.
Yeah.
So we would further inquire, right, as to where it is you walk, where you would be at this time, and then we find you.
Or if it takes that we have to find you in the night or maybe early in the morning, then that is what we can also consider.
Midnight tour?
Yeah, so
I am looking. So listen, my mind, I think a lot of things, right? So what if you're coming to somebody's home, right, and you're constantly told that they're not at home? Like how back in the day, a child was a mommy says she's not at home, right? Of course, they're not saying that part of it. But suppose they're hiding in the house. What would you do there?
Well, once you have to ascertain such information, then the police is in the rights to locate this person. So automatically we have a search warrant.
Okay.
Right? We apply for that, we get that, and we make sure that we check all our avenues. So that when we report back to the magistrate, we say, well, we look for this person, we didn't get them, so we have to apply for this because we think they're hiding out.
Okay.
And we have assistance, and then we try and get that person.
All right. So all bases covered.
Yes.
All right. So maybe we could take a break at this time.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll take an ad break, and then listeners, we're going to take an ad break, and then we'll be right back. Remember, when we come back, you can call us with your questions, 457-9997.
That could have been you. An accident that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Falls Avenue and in Arnesvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the king of the mountain. Cooper Tires, king of the road and track. Ostone, the king of the outback. And High Fly, the king of the Asian highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy-duty trucks. From MRF, High Fly, and Linglong, a reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnisvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road.
SVG, get ready. The National Lotteries Authority is now offering more chances to win with 3D and Play 4 now 3 times a day. 3 times a day. There's a morning draw at 11 a.m., afternoon draw time 3 p.m., and the night draw from 9 p.m. Get your tickets for 3D and Play 4 now drawn 3 times daily, Monday to Saturday, all from the National Lotteries Authority, giving you more chances to win. New draw times will begin from Monday, May 26th. Any terms and conditions apply.
Give me Calypso, sweet, sweet Calypso.
Everyone's waiting for the ultimate Calypso tent, the Graduates Calypso tent. And this year, it's gonna be total pandemonium with their presentation, Calypso to the World. Get ready for the settlement of all arguments when the cast hits the stage Tuesday, May 27th and June 3rd with preliminary judging on June 10th at the Russell's Auditorium. Come and hear powerful renditions from Alexander, Homie, Hero, Johnny Rebel, Tajo, Buster Ski, Ipa, Patches, Sonny Banks, Armstrong, Shaka, Iwa, Precious J, Kenny, Abuza, The Mighty Malone, Mitch, Shiwali, and Obedient Boy. All backed by the Blazing Fire Band. Time 8 p.m. until. Don't miss the massive Graduates Calypso 10 2025. Brought to you by CK Gray, Careers Trading Limited, Keku, the CDC, Lemonade Supermarket, Franklin Brown Valuation Services, C. Prescott and Sons Limited, Massey Supermarket, and BMC Agencies.
Sparrows, rum of pure sophistication. Sparrows, rum, aged to perfection. Skillfully crafted and forged with time in oak barrels. A rum so divine. Discover authentic Caribbean rum. Sparrows, premium rum. Sparrows, full-bodied rum. Sparrows, pure sophistication. Discover authentic Vincentian rum. Sparrows, premium rum.
Distilled and blended by St. Vincent Distillers Limited. Please drink responsibly.
Agents, Careers, Distributions Limited.
Nothing else sounds as good as
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
The world has become such a cruel place. Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
We are back with our Cup Chat discussion here on WEFM. This morning we are speaking on the topic, understanding the duties of the Police's Process Office. And discussing that with us, we have Mr. Kenroy Martin, Mr. Akeem Solin, and Miss Lenosia Constantine. And remember that if you have questions, you can call us 457-9997. That's our WhatsApp number. That is also our landline number. All right. Do we have any questions there? No, Relisa. Then we get back into our questions.
Go ahead.
Before we go further in, there's a critical, an important thing that this civil society needs to know. Surety summons. When you come to court and you bail somebody, you're responsible for that person. So whenever we cannot find that person, we are looking for you. That person who bailed that person and said, I'm responsible for getting Tom Jones to court, we will look for you as well. So we'll have a summons for you as well to come and tell us why Tom Jones is not at court. So when somebody say, come and bail me, you have to know that you'll be able to locate that person when the police needs them for court. If they upscan, if there's basically $2,000, $1,500 bail, you would have to find that monies and also find that individual. And then if you want to be relieved of that bail, the surety summons, then you would have to bring the individual and let somebody else do it. Back to you, bring that individual to court and say, Your Honor, I can't deal with this person. I can't find him when I need to find him. I am handing in this bail bond so that somebody else could take that responsibility.
And if nobody stands for them, then
they would be put where services will be provided for them.
And what if
hospitality?
Yes.
What if I can't find them? What if I stand bail for somebody and I cannot find them when you need them? So I go in jail?
So because you would have signed that surety summons, then the magistrate will give you some time to find that person. It's not like when you appear the first time, she will, or he or she will tell you, oh, you have to pay this amount. They will give you another opportunity. So, for example, if the person maybe is out of state and you have knowledge, or even if you don't have any knowledge, you are still responsible, because before you sign that surety summons, we will explain it to you, the process staff, even the magistrate. They will explain to you what you're gonna get yourself in. So if you really and truly you cannot bring that person, then you will need to pay the bail amount, whether it's $1,500, $1,000, $2,000, $2,500. You will need to pay that on spot.
I've seen where persons literally cry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cry at court because they can't find the individual. They can't pay the money, but the magistrate is demanding that. You have to do it.
I would have cried too.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like you had to have the money up front just in case. I mean, you don't want for it to reach that situation, but yeah. All right, so we have a caller. Joshua, good morning.
Good morning to your guests. Now, a comment and then a question. I personally never ever refer to police officers as cops because I know the origin of that acronym. And my question is, has there ever been any consideration given to changing the name from the police force to the police service? Because once there is a force, you're going to have a pushback. If you have a service, then you fine ladies and gentlemen could serve the community. Would you like me to tell you what the acronym COPS stand for?
You're listening.
Yeah, catcher of prisoners. So if you have catchers of prisoners in a police force from the community, you're always going to have a negative pushback. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thanks, Joshua.
As well.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Remember that this is the time for persons to call. Number to call is 457-9997. All right. So let's just get into a few things. Now, what are some of the challenges that you tend to find regarding getting witnesses to court?
Well, one is persons are employed privately, and when you carry summons or you serve a summons on an individual, they would say, I have to take this to my boss. They would allow me to come today, but the matter is adjourned to Friday. They will not allow me to come on Friday. There's a section that deals with the employer, that he or she has to allow that person to come to court to perform their civic duties. Some employers tell them that if he ain't come Thursday, I'm going to fire. That is not the right procedure. We could take action against you, the employer. The state could do that. So it's just a message for those persons who have their own businesses. I understand that. But the court is a place where you have to give certain privilege to citizens as well. When they are called, you ought to let them come and do the necessaries.
And neither should they be deducting them from missing work.
Yeah,
Well,
they
quote
ought to be
unquote
paid.
missing work for that day.
They ought to be
Right.
paid. They ought to be paid for that day
So
as well.
so it's not just about being fired, but you also should not be deducting pay from them.
Very well.
Right. Well, threatening to fire them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another issue that we will we normally encounter is when we try to locate a witness or even a defendant or a virtual complainant in a matter. We sometimes would learn at that said moment that that this person has relocated maybe to another part of the island. Sometimes if the person say they have moved to Barrowley or Sandy Bay, if that witness have not notified us, it's going to be difficult for us to find them in order for justice to be served. Because if we don't get them, it comes like the defendant is coming all the time. The prosecution sometimes is forced. We can't locate this witness. Sometimes we have to ask the out-district officers again for assistance. Sometimes they can't even find the witness because there's no information. So a crucial thing to do is, if you're going to relocate or move and you know that you have a matter in the system, it is wise to inform the police. You can go to the nearest station or maybe whoever you would have made that report to.
And I guess that would also apply to if you've changed your cell phone number, because
Correct.
Yeah, there are some persons who change often.
Because sometimes if we cannot locate you, like personally, we sometimes give you a call.
Right.
And said, where are you? How can we find you to serve you this summons? Your matter is coming up soon, and like that.
Okay. And I suppose this also goes back to maybe the relationship that the case managers at the DPP's office, I forget what it is, case managers?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The relationship that they have with the witnesses, so that if it's there and if it's strong or close enough, they should be able to relay this information to the case managers to make things easier for you guys.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
You can get in contact with those posters as well.
Right.
We work hand in hand.
Yeah.
All right. So apart from what we've discussed so far, what other court matters do you deal with? Your department, yeah.
Well,
all matters of the court.
All matters,
Same
really.
thing.
All matters.
All matters. Family court, the magisterial district, serious offences, and there's the high court as well. Police officers are the one who does all the preparation for those matters. So as we said, we're the engine room behind everything.
Every time you say that, it's someplace in my head. Sorry.
Curious question. How can you tell us how jury duty goes? Do you understand?
It goes through a selection process. The name, every citizen is liable to come to perform those duties. Once your name goes into the system, then there will be a selection process. They would inform you from the High Court that you are selected to perform jury duties. So you go to the High Court and you'll be sitting amongst civilians just like yourself. And then they will pick from that group the persons to sit on that committee.
Wait, sorry. Explain that. Explain that
For
again.
instance, you're working at WEFM.
Uh-huh.
Right. Your name is on the list to perform jury duties. A letter comes to your
How
employer.
do I get on that list? Though, like just random?
No, well, you have to be of good character. You know, a citizen that we could depend upon to perform such duties. Judgment has to be good as well. So it's not just randomly go on the list like that. It's somebody of good character. Let me just put it simple as that. You have to be that sort of person in society.
Okay.
Right. Responsible person.
All right. And then the next thing that you had explained to go it over again. So you're selected.
You're selected. You're called to the High Court. You'll be sitting amongst your other peers, and they would select the amount of persons that they need to sit on that jury. If your name is called, then you will sit on that matter until such time. So you could deliberate with your other colleagues and come up with a decision in respect of such. So you're helping the justice system, helping yourself as well.
If I am selected, am I allowed to say no?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
But I have to have good reasons. For instance, I'm related to that individual, so I don't want to.
A reason can be because I don't want to.
You have to perform your civic duties.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are some of the misconceptions regarding courts, the court system, just courts in general? What are some of those misconceptions that you come across?
Okay, well, that's a very good question. And I'm actually happy that you asked that. One common misconception that I often hear persons say, down to last week, I even heard an individual say it, is persons think that if you're fined and order confinement, when you go to prison and then you serve your time and you're released, that the fine has been expunged. But that's not so.
And by expunge, we mean it disappears, right?
Yes, but that's not so. In the court, we hear criminal matters and we also hear civil matters as well, right? With the criminal matters, the magistrate could order for you to be fined and confined. If you don't pay the fine within the time stipulated by the magistrate, you go to prison, and then upon your release, you don't have to pay the monies because you would have already served your time. With the other matters now, with the civil, the same thing happens. The magistrate, she orders compensation and she gives you a stipulated time in which to pay it. If you don't pay it and you go to prison, when you come out, the money is still there for you to be paid. So we'll often hear persons say, "Man, I pay no money. I go in jail. When I come out, that is it." But that's not always the case.
Okay, we have a caller. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning. Very good program, Mr. Martin.
Yes, man.
Good knowledge. But it is also good to highlight that when a criminal matter is the state against you.
Yes.
You know? And the burden is on the prosecutor to find you guilty.
Indeed.
You know, and with a civil matter is between different people.
Yes.
You know? So it is not the state with a civil matter. It's so I take action against you.
Yeah.
You know, so but you're giving some very good information there.
Yeah.
I love the program. The radio force asking you some good questions too. So I'm here listening. So I just say let me call in because I did some last week. I did a good question. So I said, let me call in and explain, because some people don't know that a criminal is the state actually taking action against you with a criminal matter.
Yes.
You know, and the civil one is more like damage and those other things.
Indeed.
Compensation you would sue for.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for that, caller.
Nice. Nice.
All right. I'm not sure if you could be able to answer this, but there's always this thing where in a civil matter where judgment has been awarded, right, and the persons don't pay, what happens here? What further can be done? I know that what could possibly happen is if the person comes into funds, like if let's say they win lotto and it's publicly known that they've won lotto, then the person can apply for the judgment that they were awarded. But if it's not a case of in civil matter where it's fined and confined, but just some sort of fine or some sort of judgment being awarded to me, and I never get it or I don't get it, what could possibly happen from there? How can this be taken further?
Right. So when judgment has been awarded for the plaintiff, right, the magistrate would.
So let me break this thing down. Plaintiff is the person who bring the matter to court.
Yes, correct,
Right.
yes, correct. And the defendant is the person who has been accused. Right. Might be accused of owing some monies, for whatever reason. So when judgment has been awarded for the plaintiff, the magistrate would give a time in which the defendant has to pay. Right? So let's say 6 months, whatever, it's at the magistrate's discretion. If you, the plaintiff, you see that the time has reached and the person has not paid anything at all, then you go back, you do the necessaries, you put in, and the person could be arrested, taken to prison, do the time already stipulated by the magistrate, and then when they come out, the money is still there for them to be paid.
But there's also a procedure, right?
Yes.
So after the first hearing or after the magistrate would have ordered judgment for the plaintiff, if the date that the magistrate gave has passed, the plaintiff can then go and they could apply for another, it's called a JDS, right? It's another suit where you have to put him back against the defendant, and then they will also, that defendant will be served again to come to court. And then when they come to court again, the magistrate will ask them, why have you not paid these monies by the time that I have given you? And they will get another period of time before, it's like another opportunity to pay these monies. And if that is not met, then the plaintiff, which is the person who put in the matter, they can now apply for a CS, a committal summons, right? It's like committing yourself for prison. So it's like stages before you actually meet the prison. So it's like giving you opportunities,
Sometimes.
JDS and the CS summons and
all right,
so forth.
We have a caller. All right. It's on me. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Let me say pleasant good morning to you.
Good morning.
My name is Adolphus Delflesh.
Good morning.
Good morning, Delflesh.
What prompted me to call is the last caller. He said this is the duty of the prosecutor to find you guilty.
You pick that up.
That is incorrect. The prosecutor presents his or her case. It is the duty of the court to find you guilty or not guilty.
Yes.
And that is a misconception a lot of people have. That is, the prosecutor find you guilty. I've had that being said to me already. And it is untruth. It is the duty of the prosecution to prove its case beyond all reasonable doubt. It is not the prosecution who finds you guilty. That is something that people need to understand. Prosecutor presents, court finds guilty. Let me say something else here. When the police, as I know it, other people may know it differently. When you go to serve a summons and the person refuses to accept the summons, you read the summons to the person and they refuse to accept it, they drop it right there.
Yep.
That is my knowledge of the law. As I said, other people may know it differently. That is my knowledge of it. Because you can't treat any person that will be an assault. You can't force it onto the pocket that will be an assault.
I thought that was what was the other thing that was done.
No.
Oh, okay.
As I said, this is how I know it. There are other people who may know it differently. But this is how I know it. I'm only giving my knowledge of it. So I wait to hear somebody else know it differently. Okay? You drop it there, and for the purpose of the law, the person is properly served.
Yes.
You understand? You don't fight the person to accept the summons. You can't do that. There's an offense you're committing there.
Or just slide it in the car.
Under the door.
The law provides how you solve a summons. And that is my knowledge of it. Fine and confine.
Yes.
The court, as I know it again, the court can fine you. So you need to pay $2,000, or in the alternative, you go to prison for whatever fine. The other thing is that they can fine you $2,000 plus you go into prison for 2 years, but you have a fine also to pay.
Yes.
At the end of your sentence, if you didn't pay that $2,000, you continue to serve another sentence as an alternative for the fine you didn't pay.
Yes.
That's how I understand it. Okay? I just want to add those to the discussion.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Just to slip back to the civil matters, right? The first thing that the magistrate normally does when she brings a civil matter to the court, she reads it to the defendant, who is the plaintiff, right? And the defendant reads it to the defendant, and the defendant would say whether or not he or she owes this person this money. If you say yes, then they make arrangement as to how you're going to pay this person these monies. She gave you a date, she work out if you could pay the monies within a particular time. She does a due diligence and so on. If you're working for $500 a week, how much could you pay to this fine? They work that out. And then you would say, okay, I could pay $50 a week and we could work. She will give you like 2 months to get this money, to get these monies. And then if you don't, you come back to court, you're going to have to tell her why you didn't pay the $50 that I sat down here, discussed with you, and you said you could pay, and you didn't pay it. And then at the end of it, there's a committal summons that she would come, she would sign and say, go and get this person, put them in prison, serve in 6 weeks. So if you don't pay the money, serve a 6-week sentence. As you come back out, still have the money to pay. You'd have to continue serving until such time. 6 weeks for that. So she goes through the process. It's fair to you, and you have time. You have ample time to do so.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So we have another call. Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning. I wasn't going to call, but when you started talking about the money that you owe and all that, I want to just ask a simple question. Does the magistrate take into consideration your work, your income before they give you the time, or is just a set timing that the magistrate can use for everybody? Because if you're working in a situation where you only bring in the X amount of money, 2 months might not be enough time for me to accumulate the money. Yeah.
Right, the magistrate would normally do a means test.
Yes.
Is where he or she will basically ask you your monthly allowances, if you have children, what are your responsibilities, and then using his or her discretion, he or she will know the amount of time that he or she thinks that is suitable for you to pay these monies by. So it's not a situation where they just give you a time to pay. The
reason why I asked the question, because if you go to a bank to borrow money and it means test your check you that you can't afford this money, they're not lending you.
Exactly.
So I'm wondering when you quote that mean test somebody and they realize that they only have $2 left in his pocket. Well,
then I guess they opt to go to jail instead.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I just have to ask that question because when you look at some people, I know that you try to give them $2,000 for pay in 2 months, and they probably don't even make $2,000 probably in 6 months. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's valid point. All right, thanks, Coach. All right.
But you have to always remember that the magistrate would always ask you what you can afford, what can you do, and give you a specific time.
But in cases where some persons go right down to the last dollar when it comes to budgeting, What happens in those cases?
Well, once you're found guilty of such
You
and
find
you're
a way.
responsible,
Yes.
you have to
To
do
find
that.
a way.
You have to find out. You have to get
Look
it
up
even.
another
Go to an
means of
institution,
employment.
something.
Okay.
Because this other person needs their monies as well, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're suffering. Yeah. So you have to stand up to your responsibility and do what is required of you.
Yeah.
Right. I think this may be my final question because it's already 9 o'clock, so we're going to go over a little bit. But now I know you're aware that not everybody who comes to you has the same level of intelligence, the same educational level. So what do you do to help them to understand different terminology? Because you sit and you hear certain words being used and you're like, okay,
Like
what does
plaintiff.
that mean? Yeah, and the expound and all that. And you're like, what? You know, so and how to address the magistrate and things like that. Do I say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, yes, no, ma'am? Is that how you so
Well, that is part of our duties as well. When you come to the court, we would tell you how to address the magistrate to say, Your Honor, the magistrate. You know, normally some people would answer, yeah, we happen, you know, well, them kind of things. That is not for the court. You address the magistrate properly, Your Honor. And there are several things that you do. There would be, as you say, witness care. If you give a statement, we would refresh you as to what you said probably 3 or 4 days ago or 2 weeks ago. You may not remember everything. So we would refresh you as well to go into court so that you could be well prepared. There are persons at the court to do that from the DPP's office, also from our staff. We normally do that as well. Intellectually, what the magistrate does is he tries to come down to that level where the person could understand exactly what you're saying. Layman terms. To use language that they could refer to or they could understand. You know, like for instance, they could say, you understand what I said? You know?
Or use the dialect.
Yeah,
Right,
you know, those sort of things. It happens. It happens. So it's just understanding what is happening, and the magistrate readjusts to accommodate, and then the staff would do the necessaries. If he or she still doesn't understand, we would explain it to them further when the magistrate is finished.
all right?
All right. So there's an interesting question here. Let me know if you could answer. So someone is asking, when does one have a dirty police record?
When you commit a crime or offense.
So they're asking, is it only after going to jail?
No. Once you come to court and you've been convicted, you don't have to go to jail. But you can get a sentence, a suspended sentence that goes on the record as well.
And even if you've been fined.
Yes.
Right.
Once you commit that offense and you found guilty, that is when that record starts to pile up. I have people with records of 100 and something offenses already. So you know what's
And they've
happening.
never gone to jail necessarily.
Well,
Well,
those
with
persons would spend some time in prison for sure.
Okay.
Can't be repeated offenders.
And then also to add to that, I'm going to give you the layman's term and I'm going to give you the police term.
We appreciate this.
There's a conviction called, well, before I even touch on that, a lot of persons think that once you're found guilty, you go into jail. But that is not so. That is not so. Sometimes you could be fined and then you pay the fine and then you walk out. But there's a conviction called reprimanded and discharged. In layman term, let you out with a warning.
Okay.
Even though you've been reprimanded and discharged, it still goes on your record. Still goes on your police record. Yeah.
Okay.
Be nice.
All right. So we've come to the end of today's cop chat, but we are going to allow each of you, maybe like about 50 seconds each, given the role that you play in the whole judicial system, just to give some words of advice, encouragement to nationals, everybody, employers, everybody.
Well, I would say, right, this is where the art of being a police officer comes in, because you get to interact with everybody from both ends of the spectrum, from the common man on the street to politicians to dignitaries. I would say national security is paramount. Everybody would want to feel safe in their country, their home, their workplace, and going to and from each. The police are here. We're here in our numbers. We're not beasts. We don't have two heads. We're here to protect and serve you, right? Again, this is where professionalism comes in, because a lot of persons have misconceptions that police are beasts and we're brutes. We always approach every situation with force. People, that is not so. We're here to protect and serve you. Sometimes we need your help as well. The police can't be everywhere at once. The police come to you and they want some information, whether it's in a matter that might have happened, a crime that might have been committed in front of you, or just some information as to your neighbor move out and they want to know where your neighbor gone to. Just assist the police. Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so I am Constable 196 Constantine. My duties at the court, I am assigned to the Kingston Magistrate Court. I am the court clerk there. Well, basically the prosecutor court clerk. So my duties entail to keeping records of everyone, of everything that is basically happening in court, who is present, who is not, defendants, the virtual complainants. I am also responsible for taking records of all the reasons per se of why a matter has been dismissed, why it has been adjourned. For whatever reasons, the court clerk is responsible for that. So if you want a particular information on a specific case, I am supposed to provide you with that information. Yes, so with the police, we are here to assist. As my colleague Solin said, we are not beasts. If you come to the court as a civilian, you want to find out any information, we are always there to assist, whether it is civil or criminal. If you want guidance on any particular matter, we are there. We try our best to assist you in whatever way. Yeah.
Well, my advice to the public is that whenever you see the process department, we're not here to lock you up. Anytime people see police officers, they're always thinking, boy, lock up. Process department is not about lock up. It's all about solving the public. That is what we're about. We only try to make things better within the court system, easier for you as well. So when the process department comes around, and you're always neatly dressed, always remember that, neatly dressed, well attired, assist us so that we could assess others and actually get the justice system working in the way that it should. That is why we're here. So we are soliciting your support when the process department comes to you to solve your summons, to give you some information and to ask you something. It would be very nice if you could assist us so we could assist others. Police is here to solve it. Especially the process department.
And with that final word, we've come to the end of our interview with the officers attached to the process department. And we were speaking on the topic, understanding the duties of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Forces Process Office. And speaking to us this morning, we had Mr. Kenroy Martin, Miss Lenosia Constantine, and Mr. Akeem Solin. Thank you very much, officers. Hope to see you again. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. And listeners, it is now 9.